Hi children, in this video we are going to learn about mechanism of photosynthesis. We have already studied about what is meant by photosynthesis. So photosynthesis is a process of preparing food materials in plants. If you see the equation of this photosynthesis, children, so plants take carbon dioxide from air, water from soil, in the presence of what, children? Chlorophyll and sunlight. They prepare 6 carbon substance, organic substance, that is glucose C6, H12O6, and also oxygen gas is liberated outside, children. Okay, so this looks very simple equation: carbon dioxide from the air, water from the soil, in the presence of chlorophyll and sunlight. So it manufacture sugar such as what, children? Glucose molecule, and also byproduct has oxygen is liberated. It looks very simple, but it is a complicated and a unique process, children. Many of the scientists are working out the steps which are involved in this process and the intermediate products that are formed in this what, children? Photosynthesis process. If we observe this photosynthesis process, children, so it occurs in 2 phases. So the first phase is photochemical phase. Photochemical phase. And the second phase is biosynthetic phase. Biosynthetic phase. As this photochemical phase, children, it requires the sunlight, so it is dependent on sunlight, so it is called as light reactions, children. We can also call it as a light reactions. Okay, or light dependent reaction. Light dependent reaction, isn't it? And the second phase, it is called as biosynthetic phase. We can also call it as dark reactions, or we can also call as light independent reactions. Light independent reactions. Okay, children. Now let us study about first one, the first phase, that is photochemical phase or light reactions, children. Okay, so let me write a light reactions. So in this light reactions, children, what happens is light gets absorbed by the chlorophyll pigments, children. So we have already studied that. So chlorophyll pigments are seen in the thylakoid membranes. That means, so these light reactions occur in the grana. So these light reactions occurs in what, children? Grana. Got it? So this light reactions occurs in 3 steps, children. Isn't it? There are several steps in this light reactions, but very important steps is, first thing is they convert the light energy into a chemical energy. Isn't it, children? So light energy converts into chemical energy. Isn't it? So how it will convert? Let us see here. So in these light reactions, children, in the first step, the light energy consists of what, children? The smallest particles called as photons. Okay, so photons. So these photons are the smallest particles from the sunlight, children. Okay, so when the chlorophyll is exposed to the sunlight, so the small particles which are present in the sunlight, children, are get absorbed by the chlorophyll. Isn't it? So these chlorophyll pigments are seen in the membranes of thylakoid. So when these photons are absorbed by this chlorophyll, children, chlorophyll gets activated. Isn't it? So in the first stage of what, children? In the first step of light reactions, what happens is chlorophyll chlorophyll gets activated. Isn't it? So chlorophyll gets activated. How this chlorophyll gets activated? Because of what, children? Absorption, or because of trapping of what, children? Sunlight. Okay, sunlight consists of tiny particles. Those are called as photons. So these photons are absorbed by the chlorophyll, and the chlorophyll gets activated, children. Isn't it? And what happens in the second stage? In the second stage, so this activated chlorophyll, children, so it will split the water molecules. Isn't it, children? So it will split the water molecules. So this reaction, we call it as what, children? Photolysis. Photolysis. Photo means light. Lysis means, children, breaking. Isn't it? So because of activated what, children? Chlorophyll, this chlorophyll, children, will breaks the water molecules. Isn't it? That means what? If you take this H2O, this is water molecules, it will be splits into hydrogen ions as well as what, children? Hydroxyl ions. Isn't it? Hydroxyl ions, children. Okay, so this process we are calling it as what, children? Photolysis. These reactions are observed by the Robert Hill, isn't it? So it was observed by the Robert Hill. So we call this reaction as a Hill reaction. Hill reactions. And the ions, hydrogen ions as well as oxygen, hydroxyl ions, children, they are in active state, children. They are reactive, isn't it? So they are reactive. So what happens to this one? So these hydroxyl ions, children, these hydroxyl ions, they undergo a number of what, children? Steps, and convert into oxygen as well as what, children? Water molecules. So this hydroxyl ions, they convert into oxygen as well as what? Water. And this water is used by the plant, but this oxygen is released outside, children. It releases outside, right? And next, what happens to these hydrogen ions? In the third stage, children, in the third step, children, the hydrogen ions, so they combine, they react with the NADP, nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide phosphate, isn't it? So they reacts, these hydrogen ions, children, they reacts with the NADP, a molecule, and converts into NADPH, isn't it? So in these reactions, children, what happens is some amount of energy is also released in the form of inorganic phosphate. So this inorganic phosphate, IP, we call it as inorganic phosphate. This is an energy, children. Okay, so this inorganic phosphate, it combines with ADP, adenosine diphosphate, and forms into ATP, children. It forms into ATP molecules, isn't it? So in the third stage, so what is the final products, children, here? So finally we get NADPH as well as and ATP molecules, children. Okay, so these compounds, we call it as accessory what, children? Assimilatory powers. So these are called as assimilatory powers, isn't it? So this is about what, children? Light reactions. So these light reactions, these three steps, children, it occurs in the grana, isn't it? And next, the second phase, we call it as a biosynthetic phase. So let me write it here, children. Biosynthetic phase. Second phase, it is biosynthetic phase. So in this biosynthetic phase, we call it as what, children? A dark reaction. It doesn't mean that these reactions occur only in the dark, only in the night. No, it will occur in the daytime or as well as what children? Night. Immediately after the completion of light reactions children, dark reactions occur in the stroma of the chloroplast, isn't it? So these dark reactions occur in the stroma, isn't it? It occurs in the stroma. Here the thing is children, the NADPH and ATP molecules are formed. So these undergo reactions in the what children? Stroma, because of the enzymes, because of the ions, isn't it? So the hydrogen in NADPH molecule combines with what children? Carbon dioxide. Okay children, so let me write it here. Are you able to see? Yeah. So NADPH, isn't it? The hydrogen in this NADPH children combines with carbon dioxide, isn't it? So and forms into a glucose. It forms into what children? Glucose molecules. So in these requires what children? Energy. So ATP is used in combining what children? This hydrogen from NADPH and carbon dioxide, and finally what happens children? Glucose molecules are formed. So this is about what children? Dark reaction. Dark reaction, it doesn't mean it occurs only in the dark. It can occur in the daytime also. So usually immediately after the light reaction, dark reactions what children occurs. Okay, so this is about the mechanism of what children? Photosynthesis. So many of the scientists children still working out so what are the steps involved in the process of photosynthesis children, and what are the intermediate products which are formed in this process of photosynthesis children. Okay, and here one more important children point is there. So here ribulose 1,5-bisphosphate is an intermediate product children. Okay, so that product is formed children, intermediate product. So we call it as ribulose 1,5-bisphosphate. This is an intermediate what children? Compound which is formed in the process of photosynthesis children. So this is about the mechanism of photosynthesis children. So photosynthesis process occurs in two phases. One is photochemical phase, we can also call as a light reactions or light dependent reactions, isn't it children? Light dependent reactions. And the second one is what? Biosynthetic phase, we call it as dark reactions or light independent. This is what children? Independent reactions, isn't it? So light reactions occur in grana. It occurs in 3 steps children. Light energy will be what children? Converted into the chemical energy. How? By observing the photons, chlorophyll gets activated, and this activated chlorophyll children split up the water molecule into hydrogen ions and hydroxyl ions, isn't it? So this process is observed by the Robert Hill, so that's why it is called as Hill reactions. And hydroxyl ions will undergoes a series of steps children and convert into oxygen and water. Water is utilized by the what children? Plant, and oxygen is what children? Released outside. And the reactive hydrogen ion children combines with NADP and converts into NADPH, and in this process children energy is also released in the form of inorganic phosphate, and this inorganic phosphate will be what children? Combined with ADP and converts into ATP, and this ATP it is used in the dark reaction children, and the end products of light reaction is NADPH as well as ATP. And what happens in the biosynthetic phase? So in this biosynthetic phase, children, occurs in the stoma, isn't it? The hydrogen in NADPH combines with what, children? Carbon dioxide, by utilizing the ATP in the light reaction, and finally converts into what, children? Glucose molecules. Okay, so this is about the mechanism of what, children? Photosynthesis. So that's all for today, children. So I hope you have really enjoyed the class, and if you really enjoyed this class, please subscribe my channel and also share to your friends. That's all for today. Thank you.